additions, words for additions, substitutes for the word and. Here is the list we studied last time. In addition to, as well, moreover, what's more, not only, but also, furthermore, besides, and also, and beside that. So we won't repeat what we mentioned last time, just to remind you that these three connections, number one, in addition to, and besides, and as well as, remind me with what these conjunctions are followed by what. In addition to, in addition to, as well as, and besides. These three connectives are followed by what, ya shabab?
A word with ing.
Okay, number one,
A verb.
excellent. Yeah, plus verb and ing, or a noun or noun phrase. Okay? Okay, all of the other conjunctions are followed by a complete sentence. Complete sentence. All right. The second part, which we commonly use in our writing, expressing contrast. I mean, I want to use some substitutes for the word but, because what is the main word for contrast and contradictions? Here is the list, the substitute, the alternatives for the word list. Read يا هنا.
Even though, in spite of, despite, however, yet, nevertheless, nonetheless, on the contrary, whereas, on the one hand, conversely, but.
Yeah, this is on the other hand. Oh, I misspelled it. On the other hand. Okay. Thank you, Yana. On the other hand, regarding to the list you see on the screen, guess which two words are followed by verb and ing based on your knowledge, or a noun. What connectives from the ones on the screen can be followed by a verb and ing? I ask the question. Suggest which words can be followed by verb and ing.
Sir,
Yes, Yellow Jane.
I'm not sure, but is it in spite of?
Yes.
Does that work?
Yeah, in spite of, this is one of them. And the second is despite. Exactly.
On the contrary works?
On the contrary, no.
How come?
Only these two words, which is in spite of and despite, are followed by a verb and ing, or a noun phrase. Rather than that, are followed by a full sentence. Let's apply the rule here.
No, but can't you say, on the contrary, playing is considered healthy for young children?
On the contrary,
playing is considered healthy for young children? I just made something up.
You said playing is considered. Okay, playing is a subject. Playing here is the subject. Okay, but when we use in spite of and despite, there will be no subject in the sentence. I mean that when you used on the contrary, playing is considered, playing here is a noun. It's considered as a subject. Like you can say this game instead, as a subject and as a noun. If you use despite and in spite of, you can't say despite playing is considered. Okay? So whenever we use in spite of and despite, we don't use a subject. We exclude using a subject. We'll see an example. Read ya, Vijay.
rule 1. Note, despite / in spite of are followed by a noun or a. Can you say what the word is?
Yes, read the examples.
Okay, despite the rain, we decided to go for a hike.
Yeah. So
In spite of his
despite.
busy schedule, okay.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of his busy schedule, he managed to find time to meet with us. Despite the challenges, she never gave up on her dreams. In spite of the traffic, we arrived at the concert on time.
Okay, in all cases here we followed despite and spite of with what? Noun or noun phrase. Noun or noun phrase. The rain, noun, the busy schedule, phrase, also noun phrase, the challenges, and the traffic. Okay, let's see rule number 2. Take care of this rule because it's related to punctuation. Whenever you use despite and in spite of in the beginning, we always use a comma before the second sentence. Comma, okay, before the second sentence. All right. So despite the rain, this is sentence number 1. Consider that sentence number 1. Separated by a comma, this is sentence number 2. So use a comma in despite clause. Whenever you use despite and in spite of, the comma is before the second clause or the second sentence. Rule number 2, reducive.
Other conjunctions are followed by regular sentences.
Yes, all right.
What, sir, what is subjunctions?
لا, this is conjunction. See,
Oh, okay.
like although and even though are both used for contrast. Read the sentence. Look how it is. What is followed by it was raining. It is a subject. This is the same example you mentioned, yeah, Hannah. I'm not sure if Hannah or Lojain mentioned. And this is verb. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So look here, subject, verb. Same case here, subject, verb. Subject, verb. Subject, verb. Subject, verb, and so on. So this what we mean by full sentence. Reduce.
Although / even though it was raining, we decided to go for a walk. He
Yes.
wanted to go out, however, / on the other hand, he had to finish his homework first. The weather was bad,
Okay.
nonetheless, we had a great time at the beach. The rumors turned out to be false. On the contrary, the company was thriving. Number 5 is some
All
people
right.
find it easy to learn new languages. Conversely, others struggle with it.
Yeah. Thank you. What you noticed about the punctuation of although and even though, number 1, there is a comma in the middle. Let's divide the rules not to be confused. Although and even though only. Okay. When I use them in the beginning, use comma in the middle. Let's go to the rest of the conjunctions. What about, however, on the other hand, nevertheless, nonetheless, on the contrary, conversely, and so on? What about the punctuation? Number 1, semicolon, conjunction, comma. Semicolon, conjunction, comma. Full stop, conjunction, comma. Semicolon, conjunction, comma. Both rules work. Either to use a semicolon, then the word, then a comma, or to use a full stop, then the word and a comma. Okay, so let's say here, for instance, I'll use the word however. So semicolon, however, comma, or full stop however, and comma. This applies to all of the rest of the conjunctions, either using however, on the other hand, nevertheless, nonetheless, on the contrary, conversely, in contrast, opposite, and so on. All of these connectives means the same meaning of although and but. So all of them have the same meaning of what? Of in contrast. So we use these conjunctions to show contrast. I hope this rule is clear. What matters to me is that you are able now to use the punctuation correctly rather than using the meaning itself. So rule number one here with although and even though in the beginning, then comma, then a sentence. What if I used although and even though in the middle? Like the same sentence here, let's say we decided to go for a walk here. We decided to go for a walk today, although in the middle, okay, it was raining. Although it was raining. There is no punctuation here in the middle if you used although and even though in the middle. Where is the punctuation if you used although and even though in the beginning? I mean, you don't use a comma here before although. You don't use a comma before although, and you don't use a comma after although. So neither before it nor after it. No comma is required. When I use the comma, when I use although and even though in the beginning, so the comma will be in the middle. This is rule number one. Rule number two applied to the rest. What is the rule here? Semicolon, the conjunction, comma, or full stop, the conjunction and comma. What are these conjunctions? However, on the other hand, nevertheless, nonetheless, on the contrary, and conversely. The rule is clear, inshallah, shabab?
Clear, sir.
For all?
Yeah.
Okay, regarding to sentence number 1, 2, and 3, use 3 different conjunctions instead of but and punctuate it correctly. 1, 2, and 3, okay? Substitute the word but with a relevant conjunction from the ones we studied and be aware of your punctuation. Send your answers in the chat box or on WhatsApp. Okay, Rujain? Okay, Hannah? Okay, Yusuf?
Okay, sir.
Start.
Okay, sir, clear.
Yusuf, after on the other hand, there should be a comma before he decided.
Yeah, sorry.
And also, and conversely,
And the conversely. Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah.
Yeah, it is my mistake.
Do the same as you did with however. Reread your sentence 1 and do the same with 2 and 3.
Okay, sir.
All right. Edit it. يلا يا رجعين يلا يا حنا. رجعين done. حنا.
Sir, just one more minute.
All right.
Same for me.
رجعين in sentence number 2. Conversely should be followed by a comma. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
I just forgot to add it.
Yes. Yeah, Hannah.
Yes, sir.
You used however between two commas. We didn't say that. Nevertheless, the same. Yet. And although. And nonetheless, although we said no comma before it and no comma after it. So what should you do now? However, should be following either a full stop or a semicolon. A full stop or a semicolon, okay? Clear,
Okay,
Hannah?
sir.
Again. So for however and nonetheless and what is the third? Yeah, nevertheless. Before them, either a semicolon or a full stop. After them, comma. Regarding to although, no comma before it and no comma after it, as long as you used it in the middle of the sentence, in the same case you wrote. Okay? I hope you understand what I said. This is the third part and also commonly used in writing when I want to express cause and effect. When I want to express what is about cause and effect. read يا هنا.
I start from rule number 1, right? Like,
No, here
where?
express cause and effect.
Okay. To express cause and effect, you can use these expressions.
Yes.
Consequently, as a consequence, as a result, therefore, because of this, for this reason, followed by regular sentences.
For reasons.
For reasons, because, since, as, for, followed by regular sentences as well. Owing to, due to, on account of, in view of, because of, is followed by a noun, phrase, or verb plus ing.
Okay, so let's say generally that all are followed by regular sentence except rule number 2 for reasons like owing to, due to, on account of, in view of, because of are followed by verb and ing. Like we say because of having, okay, because of doing, because of leaving, because of drawing, and so on. What matters to me is the use of these conjunctions using connectives for result. For result. Always in our writing we express results. Something leads to something else. There is an effect that results in a cause. So like the word consequently, as a consequence, as a result, and therefore. The same punctuation, semicolon, and comma, okay? We won't use and, only we will use consequently. And also here we won't say and as a consequence, we will say as a consequence. We won't say and as a result, we will say as a result. We won't say and therefore, we will say just therefore. The same punctuation, semicolon before them and comma after them, semicolon before them and comma after them, semicolon and comma, semicolon and comma. You can use a full stop, by the way, instead of the semicolon. So before these conjunctions, either to use semicolon or full stop before these connectives. Read Johanna the examples.
Can you hear me?
Yes, read the examples.
Okay. I start from 1, right?
Yes. No, consequently.
Oh. Yeah, so
Yeah, we didn't read.
the team lost
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay. The team lost their star player to injury. Consequently, they struggled to win matches. The company
To win
faced
the
a
match.
to win
Yeah.
matches.
Hmm.
The company faced
The
a major data breach. As a consequence, they lost trust of their customers. The heavy rain caused flooding in the area. As a result, many homes were damaged. The project was completely behind schedule. Therefore, the client was dissatisfied with the final deliverables.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, Shabab, what matters to me now
مستر ما في صوت.
Yes, hello, I'm back. You hear me properly now?
Yeah, sir, we could hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Some problem happened with my connection. Again, we said that we use these connectives instead of so, like consequently, as a consequence, as a result, and therefore. The rule is to use either a full stop, the connective and comma, or semicolon, connective and comma. Okay, I hope this rule is clear. For reasons, we won't spend or waste time explaining those because all of us regularly use because and since and as and the meaning of because. So this is easy and clear. The one may need some time, okay, like due to, owing to, on account of, and in view of. We said that this list of conjunctions are followed by verb and ing or a noun phrase. So we can say due to the event was cancelled due to inclement weather. Due to here is followed by what? Huh? Due to is followed by, it's not a complete sentence. It's what? Huh?
It's a noun phrase.
Yeah, it's a noun phrase, and owing to in the same way, followed by unforeseen circumstances. This is also a noun phrase. On account of scheduling conflict, it's also a noun phrase. In view of the recent findings, it's also a noun phrase. So all of these conjunctions are followed by a noun or a noun phrase. What are these conjunctions again? Due to, owing to, on account of, and in view of. Add to them because of. Because of follows the same rule. Any question about this part, Shabab? So,
Clear, sir.
Great. Now, before we go to the article, I just want to be sure that you're able to use consequently or as a result in a sentence. Write an example of consequently and an example of as a result, and be sure that you're able to punctuate them correctly. Okay, this is their punctuation. Everything is clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
start. Yalla ya Lujain, quickly.
Sir, we write in the chat, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Hannah, it's sentence number 1. You said consequently. Consequently of what? She missed her flight and had to reschedule her trip. What happened before consequently?
Let me change the sentence.
Sorry?
Let me change the sentence.
Okay, change it quickly, please. Okay, now is okay. The meaning is complete now. Thank you. Let's go to the second section, which is article writing. Before we start reading and writing, as we regularly do, we have a look at the examiner's expectations from your writing. It's a simple difference between article and report is in the tone of writing and also who is your reader. Report is always written to somebody who is in a senior position, like your head teacher, your principal, your boss, your manager, your school teacher, and so on. This is report, okay? But the article is written to your school mate or schoolmates, your colleagues in school. So some people who are in the same age of yours, some people who are in the same knowledge of yours, in the same culture and background of yours. Okay, the style we use here is a semi-formal style. You're always been asked to write an article to the school magazine article, school magazine. You may be asked to write to a blog, to a newspaper. So when you start writing, you will decide on your style or your level of language or your register based on your audience, who will be your reader. You know, for school magazine, so it means the readers are your classmates. Okay, the audience here is your classmates. If you wrote to newspaper, so the audience here is broader and wider. What's this is the public people. Everybody can read your writing. If you wrote to a blog or for a web page, so the audience here may be a mixture between people whom you know and people whom you don't. So what decides our style, the level of your language, is your reader. This is the first point I want to pay your attention to. Then let's see, the mark scheme asks you to write what? Read Yusuf. In terms of communication and content, I should do what?
You should make sure you cover the bullet points.
Yes, we always agree upon that point that we should cover all the bullet points equally. Number 2,
Make your writing lively and
yes,
engaging so that it's suitable for an article and appeals to your audience. It should not sound like a report on the topic.
yes, as I told you here, the way you talk to your classmates should be different from the way you talk to your teacher as a report. The way you report on information is different from the way you write an article about. Article is a kind of information and persuasion. Information and also persuasion. What I mean by persuasion, that your writing includes your opinions. So you wanted to persuade or convince your readers to adopt your point of view. Okay, so keep in mind, we want to make our writing engaging, appealing to our audience. We will see how can we do that when we read an example. Keep reading, Yusuf.
Pay attention to the reader of your article, as you need to cover the bullet points in a way that is reader friendly. Think
Mhm.
what the readers might understand, how they would respond.
Yeah, keep the reader always in your mind, how they understand what are you writing and how they may respond to your writing. Next.
The task may require you to write in a way that is quite specific, example, informative and or persuasive.
Yes.
Consider the target audience and their needs and experiences when you are writing.
Okay, thank you. The last point is very important. Read.
Rhetorical questions and exaggeration can make
Yeah,
your livelier, but be
yeah.
careful not to overuse them.
Yes, it's exaggeration, Yusuf, with the j sound. Okay.
Oh,
Rhetorical
okay.
questions. You know what an example of rhetorical questions like, are you interested in reading magazines? Are you obsessed in reading online or chatting online and so on? This is rhetorical question. Are you still thinking about the past? When will you put forward your plans for future? This is also a rhetorical question. Exaggeration means over and over of the idea. What I mean by over and over, like um, when you say, I, regarding to our fasting now in Ramadan, you say, I feel I'm fasting for a year. You're just fasting for 13 hours a day. So saying I'm fasting for a year, this is an exaggeration. The idea is over than its reality. This is what you mean by exaggeration. Okay, like if you walked some meters to the supermarket and you felt tired, you say, I'm overly exhausted. I have been walking for miles or kilometers. So this is an example of exaggeration. So exaggeration is something which is small, but you are talking about it as it's bigger and bigger. Okay? All right, thank you. Lujain, read the second part regarding to the lexical range and accuracy.
Word choice needs to focus on the topic. Do not overuse the vocabulary given in the bullet points. Vocabulary choices in an article can be more opinion-based and descriptive than in the report. Task. Try to use more complex words than you would usually use in speech. Correct spelling and usage of simple, high-frequency words is very important.
Yeah, thank you. Here, number one, what's necessary to us that don't overuse the vocabulary given in the bullet point. Before we said don't repeat yourself and don't copy from the bullet point. Avoid copying from the bullet point. Regarding to the vocabulary choices here, we said it can be more descriptive and opinion based. More descriptive and opinion-based, more complex words are required. In the same way you will see in the example we are writing now. Hannah, read effective organization.
Try to think of a lively or interesting title or headline. Reading a range of articles in different publications will give you an idea about what to include in a headline. You could use a strapline, which is a line that goes below the title to help make your article lifelike and engaging. This is optional. Do not use columns. Think about links between paragraphs as well as links within them. Try to use a lively range of punctuation.
Yeah, let's take them one by one. Interesting headline. This is a regular headline that you can use. Number 2 is thinking about links between paragraphs. We commented on this point last time. How can we connect paragraphs in the same way I connect ideas in one paragraph? This is all about requirements in your exam. Let's read this exam question. Yusuf, read.
You have been asked to write an article for your school magazine to encourage your classmates to read more. In your article, you must explain why reading is important, explain what you enjoy about reading, recommend 2 authors, and explain why you like work. You must write between 100 and 150 words only.
Yeah, thank you. From the very beginning, what is the purpose of this article? Purpose, why I am writing. Decide on your purpose before you start writing. This decides the level of vocabulary you will use. Okay, purpose of the letter of the article here is to do what? Encouraging your classmates to read more. So I am motivating the classmates to do something. When you encourage somebody, when you motivate somebody, this is persuade. So you are persuading him or you are convincing him. So the words you use must be appealing, attractive, engaging, and persuasive. Okay, the bullet points here. Number 1, we will explain why reading is important. Number 2, explain what you enjoy about reading, recommend 2 authors, and explain why you like their work. We will start with a title or a headline as we mentioned. Okay, start your article with a title like Reading Matters. Decide on the title you like, how you feel the title attractive. In the same way, you read a news magazine or a news article and you find the title attractive or engaging, so you will keep reading according to reading the title. Just here the same. So try to choose an attractive or an appealing headline or title. Then start your article with an attractive sentence. Attractive sentence or opening sentence. You can take the opening sentence from the prompt, as we regularly do. From where? I'm taking my opening sentence from the prompt. The opening sentence can be a question or a general statement. I recommend you to use a question because question is more engaging and involving readers in your writing. Okay, so look at the sentence. Not everyone enjoys reading, but maybe it's time to give it a second chance. This is a way to start your article, just one simple sentence to involve the reader in your writing. You can start as well using a rhetorical question, like what kind of a question I can start my article with here. My question should be related to the idea of reading. Somebody is interested in reading, somebody is not interested in reading. Don't forget that your topic here is what? You want to persuade or to encourage your classmates to read more. So once I said it's time to give it a second chance, it means I am encouraging you to give yourself a chance to read more. You may find something different. Okay, then we will start explaining the bullet points. Explain why reading is important. This is the first bullet point. Read, Yusuf.
In today's world, the ability to read effectively is a crucial skill for students to develop. Not only does reading comprehension
Comprehension. Yes,
yeah,
comprehension.
allow one to fully engage with literature and expand one's imagination, but it is also necessary for understanding instructions, following directions, and interpreting important information.
Yes, look at the complex vocabulary the student used here. Number one, he said effectively rather than reading well, and then develop. Then he used the word engage literature, expand in imagination, instructions, directions, interpret the information. All of these topics are relevant to the topic of reading. Reading effectively, reading comprehension, reading and literature, reading for instructions, reading for directions, interpreting information. All of the vocabulary are relevant for the topic we are writing about. I recommend you to avoid using the simple words. Try to use strong and complex vocabulary that shows your talent in using language. Okay? The same way vocabulary is used in this article, try to mimic the same path, follow the same instructions, use excellent vocabulary. We will see in the second paragraph, explain what you enjoy about reading. Read it, Jane.
Personally, one of the greatest joys of reading is the ability it provides to explore new worlds, both real and imagined. Through the pages of a book,
Yeah, I can virtually.
I can virtually visit countries and cultures across the globe. Skilled authors have the talent for creating immersive narratives that engage readers into their unique literary worlds.
Yeah, what do you think of the sentences of this paragraph? Do you have any comment? How you felt while reading this paragraph in terms of sentence? Vocabulary is okay, excellent, by the way. I'll comment on vocabulary after you comment on the sentence structure here. How you see this paragraph? Hey, Hannah, what do you think?
I think the grammar is there is a lack of sentences, like different types of sentences.
The lack of what?
Types of sentences.
Yeah, exactly. The sentence structures lack variety.
Yes.
All right. So no variety of sentence here. This is because of what? This is because of the cohesive devices. So we learned using cohesive devices, using the conjunctions is highly recommended because this affects the form of your sentence structures. The student here started equally one of the biggest. Then he started through the pages, then started skilled others without linkers. He didn't link the ideas. There are repetitive pauses after each idea. You see that ideas are not fluent smoothly. Okay, so as we mentioned, this paragraph lacks variety of sentence structures. What about vocabulary, Yusuf?
The vocabulary is really good. Check.
Okay, excellent vocabulary, wide range of vocabulary. Okay, number one, he said it provides you instead of help you. And he said explore instead of find. And he used virtually and cultures, globe, talent, immersive, narratives instead of story, engage, unique. So the range of vocabulary here is fairly wide. All right, thank you. Let's read the third paragraph. Read, Yahan. The third bullet point asked me to do what? To recommend two authors. So this is the first, oh, sorry. This is the first part of the bullet point. Number one, I should recommend two authors. Then he said, and this is the second part of the bullet point. So my paragraph should focus on these 2 points. Explain why you like their work. Allah, Hannah, read.
Two authors I would really recommend for different reasons are Mira
Sale.
Mira Sale and John Steinbeck. Mira Sale writes
Yes.
very vividly about the friendship between two young people from different backgrounds, whereas Steinbeck's books are set in America a long time ago, and I particularly like the way he describes the setting and countryside.
Yeah, is there a difference here in sentence structure? What about the wide range of sentence here?
Sir, there's no wide range of sentence.
Yusuf suggested that there is no wide range of sentence structures. Here, he started regularly, subject and verb. Number two, subject and verb. In the second sentence, look at the second sentence. He used the compound complex sentence, Yusuf. He said, after he finished the first part, he said, whereas, this is a conjunction for contrast. Then he used and, which is a coordinator. So he connected the second part of the paragraph in one sentence, which is compound, complex. And compound complex, Yusuf, is the highest degree of kinds of sentences. Okay? As I told you before, that you can write the whole paragraph as one sentence using the compound complex sentence. What matters is to use it appropriately. Okay? Also, vocabulary here is relevant to the topic of reading. Then the student ended his article by this sentence. So, what are you waiting for? Pick up a book right now. If you looked here at the beginning and the ending, did you notice anything? The opening sentence. Not everyone enjoys reading, but maybe it's time to give it a second chance. And the closing sentence. So what are you waiting for? Pick up a book right now. What you noticed here?
They're both questions.
Not exactly. The last one is question, but the first one is not. Because he said, not everyone enjoys reading, but maybe it's time to give it a second chance. That's just a sentence.
Oh, they're both persuasive.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. That the main purpose of the paragraph is to persuade or encourage or convince your reader. So he began in a way that's appealing to the readers, and he ended the paragraph by something similar to his beginning. Always, when you ask the reader, what is that? When you ask the reader to take a step to think about your topic, to think about the topic, بنسميه يا شباب call to action. Okay, when you ask the reader to think about your topic, so I'm asking him to think about the points I provided, the ideas I provided him. Okay, so this is the same way I want you to start your writing and end your writing. Please kindly don't forget to include a rhetorical question in your writing. This is a good way to start your article. Just last note that the article is similar to a way that you shout at the reader, not to combat with him or not to fight, but shouting at the reader means that you're shouting because you wanted him to think about your topic. You want to grab the reader's attention to the topic you are writing. Okay, this is the commentary of the examiner based on this topic. We already explained it, so we won't comment on it again. Just a quick reading on this answer, because some students says the question said between 100 and 150 words. So if I wrote 100 words, it means I already followed the instructions of the question, which is wrong. Look at the answer here is 102 words. I told you before, if you wrote the minimum word range, it means your ideas are not fully developed, your ideas are not explained, so you will be penalized in terms of content and in terms of language. Let's read this answer quickly about the same topic, then let's decide on or comment on this answer. Read, Eugene.
Reading is very good for you. It is a very good what? And it is very important. You need to read in a lot of lessons which are taught at school, and you also must read in other times as well. I enjoy reading because it helps me, and it is a good active to do with spare time. Many people do not read enough. That's okay. The two authors I recommend are John Steinbeck and Mira Sayal. I like John Steinbeck's books because they are exciting, and I like Mira Sayal's books because they are very real to life and very exciting also.
Yeah, don't you feel offended by reading this article? How did you
Yes,
feel
sir.
while reading
It
this
sounded
response?
very wrong, and
Sorry?
I didn't understand it properly. There are many
Yeah,
mistakes
that's
and
it. Yes,
punctuation is
this
wrong.
writing is very, very weak response. Number one, communication is communication. Okay, there is a very lack of communication. There is delay in communication. Delay in communication means I read and I try to understand, which is wrong. Okay, so the student will lose marks for communication. In terms of organization, there is no paragraph. The whole article is in one paragraph, one column. This is wrong. All ideas are mixed together. There is no separation between paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Nothing is clear where he introduced and where he ended, although he wrote 102 words. Okay, so he wrote in the word range or the word limit. Okay, but no idea is clear. Spelling, full of spelling errors and full of grammar errors. Okay, so let's see the comment of the examiner here. Read it, Yusuf.
Communication and content. This answer is at the shorter end of the word range. It reads more like an essay than an article. The register and tone are reasonably consistent, but the first bullet point is not fully addressed.
Yes. For lexical range and accuracy.
The vocabulary is sometimes repetitive and it is not particularly wide-ranging. Often the student repeats the vocabulary provided in the wording of the bullet points. Usage is not always accurate. It is a good active to do with a spare time.
Yeah, go ahead. In grammar. Keep reading, Yusuf.
Grammatical errors such as misuse of the definite of the definite
article.
The definite articles at the school. A range of structures is used. Effective organization. The response is organized in a rather basic way, and the two different paragraphs do not link very well together. Punctuation is not always accurate like it is.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So I already sent this PDF to the group, all right, and we already discussed two different forms of which is relevant and which is irrelevant, and how can I keep my writing interesting, how can I use variety of sentence, variety of vocabulary, complex vocabulary, not general simple vocabulary. So this is time to write your article. I'm going to share two articles in the group. Choose one of them, only one of them, okay, and write your article about. All right.
Okay, sure.
I already shared the two articles, and I'm not sure if they are different. Yeah, they are different. Choose one of them and start writing.
Sir, did you share them on WhatsApp?
Sorry?
Where did you share them? They're not in the chat.
In the group. No, in the group of WhatsApp.
Okay.
You want me to share them here?
If you don't mind.
Okay, no worries. I can. Here is the chat box. This is the first one. Choose one of them only. Don't write about them both. And this is the second one. Here it's easy. At your disposal.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.